Whoa, man, I'm staying up all night. Oh my god, what's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next thrilling and exciting episode of the amazing, adventurous, shocking and astounding, immutable, irreparable, irreproachable, castigated, vindicated, violated, reading cow from another world show thing that this is, and we're learning how to read Chinese with episode 5 of Reading Chinese. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, I make jokes about pronunciation, and I think we should always do that. I was just reviewing my last lesson, and I noticed that I made ridiculous pronunciation mistakes. It happens to the best of us. But one thing that I thought was unforgivable was this, this one here. How do you say that? Do you remember? It's yao, right, with the second tone. And this is yu, and I was like saying yao shun. And that's wrong. It should be yu shun, right? So I just want to clarify that. Yeah, so this again is the name of the predecessor of Da Yu the Great, who's a famous guy in Chinese history who came up with canals and flood diversion projects that saved the people from terrible, devastating floods. Okay, so continuing on, what do we have here next on the agenda? 随着人口的不断增多 So let's try this. There it is. Is that perfect? It's perfect. I can just accept it. Okay. Now, let's see. What do we have here? Along with population's continuous increase. Right? So, 不断 is going to be ceaseless, unstopping. 增多, adding many. Right? And 人口 is population, and then 随着人口 along with. So we say 随着人口的不断增多 comma 新时也多起来. Was that, did I say that with the first tone? 新时多起来. Oh, that's like blocking or something, I think. That's the one that I want. Okay. There's a kind of sad thing. I just always, I have to say, nali. You talk to Chinese people, they're like, it's amazing. I've never experienced, somebody to speak Chinese so well. It's so wonderful. And they're just like praising you. And then there'll be a American Chinese guy who's like grown up with his parents and grandparents in the house speaking Chinese, and he'll sit down and he'll start talking to the same person, and they're like, how is your how is your Chinese so crappy? And I'm like, that's so, you're so hard on an American-born Chinese or a foreign-born Chinese. My Chinese will never be at that poor guy's level, and also, this is just my impression, but Chinese people are more sensitive about if they look foolish or if they lost their face. They really feel more pain. And it's like, if I say something stupid and idiotic today and I go home and I realize, oh man, that was so dumb, I don't care. I just come back the next day and I go, listen guys, I gotta tell you, yesterday when I said something dumb, it was really dumb and I was wrong, so let me just criticize myself and make good with and then I sleep fine. I don't worry about it anymore. But I always think, how come Chinese people, how can they praise my Chinese, which is so terrible, and then some guy speaks Chinese, but he's an ethnic Chinese, and they're just really critical. Did you ever notice that? Okay, back to where we were. 姓氏多起来. It means you got more names. The more population you got more names. "姓氏的来源 有以下几种情况。 Now let's look at, you can see the romanization I've written out, 姓氏的来源, and if you look down there, the characters are in fact correct, it's guessing right. 有以下几种情况. Wow, that is perfect. It guessed exactly what I was trying to write. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put my colon. Now let's just make sure we're getting this. The names, the family names, the source of the family names, where they came from, have the following. Yeah, 以下 means below. Yeah, down below here we're going to write 几种 several, maybe less than 10. We would say 几种情况. Now that, so we're saying that the names have the following situations. 情况 is situations. Now let's just go over to Google Translate. I don't know if I did this already, but I'm going to go and check, because I thought it was interesting the way. Okay, no, that's another part. So I'm going to paste this in. The source of the last name is as follows. Now, when we're talking about the family name, the translator goes the last name, right? But remember that we do it backwards. We address people by the last name first, right? So the last name should be the first name. But yeah, it would be better to use family name in this translator. Because if you say last name, you're going to create confusion. Like my Chinese name is Dai, 现代的 Dai. That 现代的 Dai. and 建国, right? So somebody might go, oh, well then I'm going to look at the last character, which is 国. So your last name must be 国. No, the last name is Dai, the one that comes first. So there's a little problem you might find. And they just translate is as follows. The source of the last name is as follows. But actually, literally what it says is below as follows. There's several situations that are going to get you some names. Now, let's see. I think I made a mistake there. Oh yeah. I left out a word right here. This word. In the greater part, or the great part, greater dot in the, yeah. So there's my correction. Now let's move forward. Okay, this is almost correct. I'm going to go ahead and accept it. But this right here, this one should be so like 民族. And then it says like 或者 or 最好微信 Now this is, you notice I've been typing yo, and because, and then I go ahead and accept it, and then I go to the next one. It's because it doesn't come on the first page, the one that I want. So that's why I do it this way. Some of the input methods, they pick it up from the context. Like if you're typing a passage, after the first structure appears, they'll pick up what you're trying to type, and they'll do that. But this Microsoft input method doesn't do that. And then what do I have? I have Guanzhi number 2. Oh, I meant to say So 几种情况 is usually, it's my understanding, it's less than 10, right? So let's take a look at 大致有以下几种情况，有以祖先的祖号或爵号为姓，有以国名。What is 国名? It's the name of the country that you're from. That you could get a name from that. 地名, the place name. What you do or your profession could be your name. Or a plant or an animal, like Li is the family name for the emperor of the Tang, the first emperor of the Tang dynasty, and it's a plant name, Li. So if you ever see somebody with the name Li, that actually it's an example of a name being from a plant, the plant being the plum. And you could have numbers for your name, etc. Now, this may be hard. 爵号. Let's go take a look and see if we can. Let's say we didn't know it was 爵. We can look it up here, see what we get. They don't give us anything. Let's see. Let me get to MDBG and see if they give me something for this. Or better yet, let's try Google Translate. Yeah, that's not right. This is the kind of situation that you'll face, right? So let's go back to MDBG and see if we can get a solution to this situation that we're in. Right, nobility. This is probably the meaning that we're looking for. 爵号. Let's see if we get a better result if we take the whole passage. Let's see. Yeah, that picked up much better. Ancestral family names or clan names. Right? Country names, place names, that's good. And official titles or occupations. Official titles or occupations. And plant and animal names. Okay, I would just like to point out, it's like this is something that happens in Chinese. Like if I want to say animal, I say 动物, right? And if I want to say plant, I say 植物, right? But if I want to say plant and animal, I say 动植物. Right? It's just something that happens. And you get also numbers as surnames or whatever. So yeah, that brings us to the end of, wow, that's a big chunk of Chinese that we got there. And I think it's just about time to come to the end of this thrilling and exciting and astounding and amazing episode of the Reading Cow for Another World. Learning Chinese all night long. And just think of it, folks. You're actually reading Chinese, and I hope you're going to be writing Chinese. If you ever want to go to China, a good way for you to go is like if you have some skill, some professional skill or whatever, you if you can speak and read and write Chinese, then you can get what's called a foreign expert certificate and go to a university. This is what I did, and you go to a university and kind of participate in the development projects in the country. China is ahead in some areas and behind in some areas, and you can go and help out and have a really good time, and the Chinese people will be very appreciative, and that would be really great. So this is the end, and until next time, goodbye.